Hi, in this panel, we'd like to explore how leading members of the Velocity Network Foundation are planning on implementing verifiable credentials and deploying their products and services on top of the Velocity Network. I'm extremely excited to host a team of amazing leaders from four of our members in this panel. Rupert Emson is the CEO of Vero Screening. Welcome, Rupert.
Hello.
Jean-Marc Louchez is the president of Korn, Ferry Institute and a board member of the Velocity Network Foundation. Welcome, Jean-Marc.
Hello, everyone.
Ximo Soler is the senior vice president of global digital strategy and innovation at Randstad and a board member of the Velocity Network Foundation. Hey, Ximo.
Hi, good morning.
And Bennion is the director of product marketing, innovation, and strategy at Cornerstone onDemand, and an observer of the Velocity Network Foundation board of directors.
Thanks for having me, Etan.
Hey, so welcome, gentlemen, to our discussion. Each of the four of you represent a company in a different sector of the human capital management space: tech, advisory, services. Each of your organizations is impacted a little bit differently by the emerging world of verifiable credentials and have different opportunities as a result of adoption of the Velocity Network. I wanted to start by asking each of you what changes in your products and or services you're planning to build on top of the Velocity Network, and when do you think these will be available to your customers? Ximo, how about we start with you?
Thank you. A pleasure. Yeah, I think that all of us, we have to quickly, if you will, respond to the emerging trends, right? While making a good use of relevant insights and learning from best practices. And our digital factory at Randstad is set up to do exactly that, to find out what are the new trends that will help us build a competitive advantage. And the Internet of Careers is clearly one of them. I think that people have grown increasingly accustomed to executing personal and business transactions in a self-service manner, at any time, on any device, and omni-channel service delivery is a core element, improving customer experience, which is driven by the convenience. I think that being connected to the content, the people, the products, the services they need, whenever, whatever, and however they need them, it's becoming a new norm. And we strongly believe that this is where blockchain technology can make a huge difference. In essence, acting as a trusted source of truth for employers and delivering a greater sense of data security for employers' records. We heard our CBO, René, a little bit before this panel, and actually I just want to reinforce that the contingent workforce employed by Randstad will be able to curate their learning experience gained through their time with us as verifiable career credentials that we'll use to gain much better career opportunities. The experience of job seekers and contingent workforce engaged with us will be elevated to a whole new level, with job matching applications that use permission-based access to their verifiable career credentials to offer them their best next career move, which is our key purpose. But also compliance and license monitoring for our customers will be automated and instant. We are all aware of how long it takes to go through these steps, outside this Internet of Careers. So candidate data will be enriched with dozens of verifiable career facts, allowing our customers also to take better talent decisions. And I think above all, compliance with the tightening privacy regulations will be embedded by design. So this is in our roadmap, and I strongly believe that very soon we will see how we make progress in that direction.
Great, Ximo. Very exciting. Jean-Marc, how about Korn Ferry?
Thanks, Etan. We build on what Ximo just said. I mean, the trust-based information about people is where we will be going as well. So we see two major applications of Velocity and the Velocity capability for us. One is at the credential level, and the other one is on top of the credential, creating subtype of solutions that we call so far a career performance app that we will make available to our clients. At the credential level, we do every year over 5 million assessments for our clients. We develop over 200,000 leaders every year. And wouldn't it be nice to be able to say to a Banco Santander or BNP Paribas or Royal Bank of Scotland, each time that you have one of your employees going through an assessment or some type of development, they get a credential. They get a certificate, something that goes into the e-wallet of the individual. Is going to go with them for all their life. Maybe one day they will become contingent workers, as Ximo just talked about, or even for your internal talent marketplace. If you want to have somebody moving from credit to a commercial position or becoming a treasurer, they can take advantage of those credentials for their career mobility and evolve over time with these capabilities. So it would be number one, get a benefit for your employees so that they can manage their careers in a more effective way. And you as an organization, you can manage your workforce also in a more effective way. The career performance app is one layer on top of it. Therefore, if employees decide to make available their information about their life, what education, what experience they had, what assessment or courses they have done over time, we get the platform, the basis to provide additional insights to individuals and to organizations. Maybe you need to do an emotional intelligence course or assessment that you haven't done so far. You complement, you get insight of coaching tips so that you can perform better with your teams or with your leaders, because information, trust-based information, is available at your fingertips, on your app, in your phone, or your desktop, so that you can optimize your career. So we will be developing these capabilities. We are already working on them, and this should be available as soon as Velocity is available, and as soon as our clients are ready for it.
Wow, that's great. That's really exciting. Ike, how about Cornerstone's plans?
Absolutely. Much like has been expressed by Ximo and Jean-Marc, I think we all see the current patterns that are happening in the market. We've entered what Cornerstone calls the age of resilience, where the educational certificate that you get from public schools or private universities doesn't go as far as it needs to in terms of making you ready for the career that is in front of you. So it means that corporations now need to step in order to help upskill people in a meaningful way. And so that means that corporations in a way also need to start to certify and to help people to take what they've learned and develop in one part of their career, their educational experience, to more places, to give more clarity to the value that they bring to the table, much as has already been expressed. So for Cornerstone specifically, in helping to position and to meet that need in the market, there's two big things that we see as opportunities. The first is that issuance in itself, by providing credentials out into the marketplace, adds more weight and value to the user, to the employee, of the work that they do to build themselves, to develop themselves within the context of their current employer. And then the second is through consumption, is that we can drive personalization. We have to stop starting from ground zero if we're really going to understand our employees, build an experience that matters for them, and take them somewhere where they can be meaningful and very productive for the organization and themselves. We have to have credentials that tell the story, that help them to pick up from day one at the new organization, to continue on their career progression as if they never left their last employer. I think that that's the real opportunity that we see in the marketplace. We are building a number of solutions, of course, but blockchain will be an important component of this. We have a roadmap forward, which we're really excited about, that will help to articulate this vision, to help people to have this personalized experience for their development, regardless of where these credentials came from, what their experience has been across their career, and where they'd like to go.
Very interesting. Thank you. And Rupert, Vero screening, background checks, that's a very different industry than these three and very disrupted by this world. What are your plans around velocity and verifiable credentials?
Thanks, Etan. Well, it's a great question. And representing background screening companies, we're excited about the opportunity of collaborating not just with Velocity, but the wider world of work, and leading global businesses within the world of work, ultimately to play our part in supporting more frictionless movement of people into and around the international job market. The interesting thing, thinking about it specifically from a background screening perspective, whether it's an outsourced process or an internal in-house process, is there is an inherent industry challenge for background screeners, which relates to the duplication of effort, right? So whenever somebody's moving from one employer to the next, there is a process that they have to go through where either organizations like us, the background screeners, or the future employer, if they're managing the process themselves, have to go back to the former employer and seek validation of that person's employment history. And that's a process that's very administrative within the full screening process. It doesn't really drive much value from a screening perspective. It is administrative. It's not where we add value to our client. And it's the bit that takes the most amount of time as well. It has the possibility, the taking up of references, to delay the process. It therefore impacts the candidate, the speed with which they can get into their future employer. It can be impactful on the future employer themselves. It delays the speed with which they can get into their business and start adding value. And also for the organization producing the reference each time. And the more often people change jobs, the more often they're having to produce these references. It can also be maybe not the best use of resource in fundamentally supporting an administrative process. So we recognize this solution as being one that really should, through the collaboration of the organizations involved, help address this fundamental challenge within the background screening process, speed things up, and in doing so, deliver advantages and benefits, certainly to the candidate, certainly to the future employer, less administration for the former employer, and for screening companies, from our perspective, certainly reducing the administration, the part of the process where we offer the least amount of value, so that we can focus on the areas that we feel we can offer value in the context of the wider risk mitigation, the support we can provide clients around a consultancy in the more complex corners of an outsourced screening process, international compliance, regulation. So we recognize this as an opportunity to address what has historically been a challenge for the industry and really needs to be addressed as soon as possible for everyone's benefit.
Thanks, Rupert. It's interesting listening to all four of you, how each has a different perspective, but aspects of trust, of personalization, of speed all come into play. And it's very clear listening to all of you how the ecosystem of everyone playing together is going to create value across the board, both to individuals and to employers, which I think is really exciting to hear. So many of your clients are in the audience today. You guys invited them. And by this point in our event, I'm quite sure that many of them are excited about what they've heard so far and are asking, what next? How do I get engaged? What needs to happen to get my bank involved in this initiative? So what is your invitation to your clients? What is your call to action to those clients here in this audience that work with you already and are part of your ecosystem? Ike, you want to try to address that first?
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. I think the biggest thing to note for anyone, regardless of who they've come from by invitation, is this is something to dig into. I know some of you are here as scouts of the organization. You're taking back information of whether or not this is something that you should look into and invest in more. And my answer is yes. This is a future that is coming. Blockchain is surrounding us very quietly and adding a lot of value in order to cure some of the ills that we have around data in the marketplace today. So the first thing that I would tell you is to, yes, take some time to dig into what this means, ask the vendors who you're associated with, who you're seeing on this call today, and to understand more, and then start to think about the implications. And of course, I will speak for all my peers here that we are invested with Velocity. We're invested with you to help answer those questions, to make it clear for you of how this creates additional value for you and your workforce and how to yield the best benefits from it. So I guess my invitation and your call to action is that start a conversation, start a dialogue with the vendor that you're associated with.
Great. And Rupert?
So yeah, from our perspective at Vero, we are currently working through our integration with Velocity. We are working through proof of concepts that we can show our clients that both illustrate the candidate experience through the process, which is hugely important, and also what they would see through our portal. So what the changes there might look like. We're incorporating QR codes. We're looking at information security, which is clearly a very important area. The GDPR, the compliance implications. We're looking at the processor versus controller considerations from a data perspective. We will have working demos for our clients, and this summer we really want our clients to pick up with us directly, just so we can engage in the conversation, walk through those demos, explain what the experience is going to be like from the candidate perspective, where the benefits are going to be, to give the candidate the opportunity to take some control through this process finally. And hopefully they'll recognize this as being a win-win. There may be some commercial models as well that represent an interesting opportunity for the clients going forward. That's an area that we're looking at right now. So yeah, we're ready to start talking to clients so that they can work with us to shape the language that we use, the way in which we present this, the tips, the signposting within our systems. And yeah, great. Those that engage with us sooner will have an opportunity to put their print on that in a way that is meaningful and value adding for them too. So yeah, we're ready to start talking.
Wonderful. And Ximo, the Randstad customers listening to us here, what is your call to action to them?
Yeah, I was listening and just taking a lot from my colleagues in the panel, and actually when I got to meet Velocity, that was two years ago, I think, and we thought that we were just far away from releasing a meaningful application, if you will, and the time has flown super quickly, and this is happening. This is just around the corner, and actually technology is not the challenge, right? The challenge is how you build your own competitive advantage, making the most of this ecosystem, right? These capabilities. I fully agree with what my colleagues have said, but actually we like to explore the promise of these emerging technologies and innovate with our customers. We like to provide value to our talent, but also to our clients. And that's something that we can only do together. So this is an open invitation to co-create together, to explore your use cases, and to see how connecting the dots between a lot of us with you, right? We can deliver something that I think the four of us have said, which is a frictionless experience, right, for our future talent, and not just our future talent, but also our existing or current employees. I think also on top of that there's plenty of benefits, but we know how important it is to build a strong employer brand. And I think being able to be perceived as well as an innovator on your side and embracing this technology, which is supporting a lot of, I would say, benefits and the power of self-sovereign identity, right, for our future talent is key. We do place a lot of professionals in the financial and banking space across the globe. We know them well. We know how hard they are to convince to join a new opportunity, if you will. And we know how pushback, they gave us very often when they have to go through painful processes, right? Background checks and all these required steps, to make sure that you get the right recruit. So now I think that together we need to imagine how to make it more, more seamless, if you will, and while we give a lot more value to the individuals. So open invitation to all of you. You know where to find me. So stay in touch.
Thank you, Ximo. And Jean-Marc?
Yes, so Velocity will be launched in September. So between now, let's say May to August, we would love, like our colleagues, to engage in conversations to co-create with banks and, of course, organizations, all industries, to really understand what would be the most benefit from a platform like Velocity. We see two levels of values for clients. One, which is an operational value, therefore how you can make it easier to check credentials or issue credentials if it is relevant, and make attraction, talent acquisition easier for you, or more fluidity of clients within their development and career progression. So we want to explore that. For instance, do you want to get credentials on leadership development or more an assessment of technical skills or cognitive capabilities? So go deep into what is the immediate operational value that will make more sense. We already have the proof of concept done with assessment, and we can leverage that to go beyond. Then the second type of value is more of a strategic value. Therefore, once the information is there, how can you use that information at the individual level or collective level to get more insights and to make better decisions, anticipate your workforce planning strategies or actions, understand how you can have a more fluid and frictionless, to use Ximo's expression, talent movement within your organization. See what is really the more beneficial for you. So we love to organize innovation labs with one client or several clients so that we understand what is the most relevant application, so that in September and beyond, we are ready to go.
Thank you, Ximo, and thank you, gentlemen. I think you've made it very clear that you're all very excited, but that you're ready to engage with your customers. So here's an invitation to continue the dialogue and innovating together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.